All right, hold on. Oh, because I got it timed with the music. Hold on a second. Let's see if this makes any sense.
No, just gotta play this.
No, I'll start it and then I'll just.
Okay.
This is the JWN podcast. Welcome to episode number 69. Normally it would be a solo show, but the thing I want to talk to everybody about today is so different than what I've normally done before that I have actually episode number 70's guest, Vik Hart.
Hello.
He's here with us right now. And basically, I want to talk about Niftys.
Okay, let me preface this by saying I have no idea what this is. I was about to leave, and then Joe was like, "Oh, dude, do you know what Niftys are?" I'm like, "What?" So I assume he's about to tell me about some sort of like chemtrails, flat Earth conspiracy theory. So, Joe, what are Niftys?
All right, so it's interesting because the type of which people listening to this now, if you listen to this before you listen to Vik's episode, you'll understand Vik does paintings and he does a lot of original artwork, not big into the print scene as far as like you're creating original artwork that you sell to people. So every piece of your artwork is unique in the, only one of them exists. It's not like you're making copies of it and all that stuff. It exists. It's a watercolor painting or
it's physical media. It's not a Photoshop painting that someone that makes 100 prints of.
Right. Now the problem is there's a whole lot of artists right now that exist entirely in the digital realm.
Yeah. All
of their artwork is created in something that can be bit for bit reproduced. So if I create something in Procreate on an iPad, somebody could take that file and reproduce it infinitely. So the value of that piece is lost the minute you create it. If you're creating it, let's say you hire me to create a painting digitally, like that's it. I got my money's out of you.
Yeah.
Or for the most part, for a lot of artists like yourself, if you release it out there and you release it, say a picture on Instagram, well, someone could just copy that. And why would they have to pay for it? They could just get it for free, right? What's the value in something that has an infinite amount of versions? And a lot of artists, Patrick Prickett comes to mind. He was on the podcast. He's somebody who's very anti-print because he feels like it devalues the original value, the value of the original artwork. Right.
Yeah. Now I understand prints. Like I will say, I'm not anti-print. I just don't do it for my work because that's how some artists make their living.
Right. Right. And it's conducive to the type of art they do. Like if they're a hybrid or painting with digital stuff, all different reasons why you might want to do it. Screen printing exists as a print, and that's a form of art.
Yeah.
So what happens is though some brilliant people figured out a way to create digital scarcity based on blockchain technology.
Oh, you're about to talk about Bitcoin?
Listen to this.
Joe Trevian here, he's got to get me on those Bitcoin scam.
Now, this is tricky because when you talk about it, like I tried to explain this to my wife the other night, and right away she's like, "This sounds like an MLM, like a multi-level marketing thing. This sounds like creepy and whatnot." I'm like, I thought the same thing. Until you understand what it is and what the benefit is of people for artists. So there are these artists that exist, their whole presence. One of the most popular digital artists right now that exists culturally is this guy, Beeple Crap, BEEPLE _crap, I think is his Instagram handle. He's got millions of followers. His work has been shared by major publications. Run the Jewels took one of his art pieces that he made with them in it and shared it, and they made merch with it and stuff like that. But his whole career exists in this, on this medium that can be replicated. So it's like, well, what's the value in one of his pieces, except for if you commission him to make something for you, how's he going to make money? And he lives in a modest house right here in North Charleston. And he's a global sensation. Over the last year or so, he's become extremely popular. Well, this is where Niftys come in the blockchain technology. So they take a piece of artwork, a digital thing, and it doesn't have to be art. It can be music. It can be a photograph. It can be animation. There's a lot of Nifties that are animation, and they attach it to a unique non fungible token. That's what NFT stands for. So now you have a print. Imagine if you had a print that, because of its association with, it exists as a unique token that can't be replicated, it becomes an original piece of artwork simply by the fact that it's associated with that token. It's like a certificate of authenticity.
I've actually, okay, I didn't realize it by the name, but I have seen this.
Yeah, it's blown up recently. It's popular in video games.
Yeah, it's basically, it's taking the idea of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin are finite. Like you can't make a new Bitcoin. You can only find a hidden Bitcoin.
You have to mine it. Yeah.
Yes. And have you seen the documentary? It's about Pepe the Frog.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
It's really good. And it explains Feels Goodman. Feels Goodman. That's the name of the documentary.
Okay.
And it's about the guy who made like the character Pepe, but like as a comic, like not the weird bastardized version
not,
it is
not
now.
how it was adopted.
And there's a section in that documentary about that where there's these guys who have made the literally digital. I feel so awful saying this. Digital rare Pepe, like they look like trading cards.
Yep.
And they have attached value to it, and you can't like replicate it. And so they have these like just stupid like holographic rainbow colored frog drawings.
Yep.
That are worth thousands of dollars.
Right. And it is not just art. The NBA has made a lot of, and I think a lot of this stuff has come to people's attention in the last few months. NBA has this thing called Top Shots, where they take a short little video clip of like a slam dunk or a game-winning free throw or something like that, like a moment in NBA history, and it's like a trading card that moves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a Harry Potter style, you know, like their newspapers in Harry Potter were like alive and moving, or the paintings were moving.
Oh my God.
So that's an animated version of it. But but it comes down to, like I said, it's not just artwork. These are like trading cards of a moment.
Yeah.
But that moment, depending on how that was released, whether it was released as a one of a kind, one-off thing, or if it was released as a series, so that maybe only 10 of them exist, but each one of them has its own unique token.
Yeah.
So each one of them is unique, even though it's the same thing, the same visual representation. Each one of those visual representations, there's only 10 of them that will ever exist.
It's like
it's
like it has its own address in a way, where
yes,
and you know those neighborhoods that spring up where they build, you know, all the houses look exactly the same, but only one of those is 1, 2, 3 New House Way.
Right.
It's like that, where it's like, you have this image and only this image has this specific data.
Exactly. So it's digital scarcity.
Yeah, which I think even like describing how that technologically works to someone, like I don't understand like how do you stop for someone from replicating code?
Well, that's the thing. That's why it exists on. That's where the beauty of this, the way it exists, and this is where people get their eyes glazed over when you try to explain the blockchain, because I mean, for the most stripped down version of it, it's a ledger. It's basically this database that exists that anybody can download, anybody can host it, anybody can become, they can. It's open. It's decentralized. There's no one entity controlling the blockchain that exists on. And like for NFTs, they exist on the Ethereum blockchain. So basically, you can't just mimic it. You can't just steal that token. You can mimic the art. You can copy the art, but it would be like if you made a copy of the Mona Lisa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's only one Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
You can make as many copies as you want, but that token that's associated with it tells the world that this is the actual Mona Lisa.
Which the implications of that for like digital artists are saying that. So the idea is that someone can commission a digital artist to make a piece of digital work, and that can be replicated. They can be prints made of it. Someone could even take a screenshot JPEG of it, but only that they can make it so only that original piece of artwork they made, that file has like has that information that says, yeah, this is the original.
Yeah, that certificate of authenticity, that token
insane.
makes it scarce. So it's a forced scarcity, and it sounds so silly and crazy.
I just imagine like someone has the file and they try to like Control C it with their keyboard and their computer just blows up.
Well, no. You can take the image or the video or the clip or whatever. You could share it. You could do whatever you want with it. But there's only the entity of it that exists attached to that token is the only one of that thing. It cannot be replicated. And that's what the non-fungible means. Non-fungible means that it cannot, like a Bitcoin, one Bitcoin, whatever it's worth, and there's only like 21 or 22 million Bitcoin that exist, but one Bitcoin is identical in value to another Bitcoin at a particular time. Whereas one NFT, even though it's based on the same kind of technology, is not identical to anything else because no other NFT that exists has the same exact token and the same exact artwork or digital property associated with it. Even though you might have two of the same artwork, they have two different tokens. So each one becomes non-fungible. So I know that sounds crazy, but here's the even crazier part of redefining the art trade industry for artists. If you get on to like say Rarible is one of these exchanges, Rarible.com, and you upload a piece of art and you tokenize it, you create it as a Nifty, an NFT, and you put it out there, and you can name your own price, or you can just say, I'll let people bid, and after a certain period of time, I'll just accept the highest bidder. However you decide. Yeah. One of the things you also define is your commission for future sales. So when you create this tokenized piece of artwork, this Nifty, you define, hey, in perpetuity, every time someone sells it, I get 10%. Yeah. So you sell it to me for $50 worth of Ethereum, right? Yeah. And I take it and I turn around 2 days later and I sell it for $5,000. Well, in a traditional form of art, if you sold me I have a piece of your artwork hanging in my studio. You sold that to me for a specific amount of money. If I turn around and sell it tomorrow for $5,000, guess what you get? You get dick.
I get, nothing.
Nothing. I mean, the value of your artwork in general goes up because more people are paying for it. Then you could start selling it for more. But you're never seeing that resale market, anything from it.
Yeah, no.
But with a Nifty, if I sell your Nifty for now you're getting $10,000. Now you're getting $500. And then if that person sells it for $5 million, you're getting 10% of that. And so forth and so on, as long as you're able to collect the money.
Now I'm seeing why your wife thought it was a weird...
Because it sounds like a network marketing thing.
Yeah. You get two people to sign up and they get two people to sign up.
Well, what's going on right now, because it's so new and so popular, I brought up Beeplecrap because he just became... I mean, this guy lives in a modest house right around here where we're recording this podcast. And...
I feel like you're trying to find out where this guy...
My wife's a real estate agent. I can find out where anyone lives and how much they own. Like, if I were like nefarious, I could find out where he lives. That's not important.
For the listeners at home, Joe is like, he's rubbing his fingers together maniacally as he says that.
How can I get Beeplecrap on my podcast? It's like, dude, you can walk 2 blocks and you're here. Just come and show up, please. We'll talk about all of this. No, but the reason why I bring him up is because he's just like, he's this person who is gaining all this popularity, but like not making any money out of it, really, like not getting compensated. And all of a sudden
he gets on Nifties.
And his artwork sells for million. Like he had a Nifty that sold for $6 million in the last month, that it got the attention of traditional art resellers and auctioneer house Christie's.
I bet they hate the idea of this.
No, the opposite. So Christie's
decided we have to get in on this.
They're using this artist Beeplecrap as their entry into the world of Nifties. So they're taking a piece of his work. It's actually a collection of his work, like almost like a collage of like his 500 most recent pieces, and they're selling it. They're auctioning it off through one of these Nifty gateways. I think it's through Nifty Gateway that they're doing it. That niftygateway.com is one that's owned by the Winklevoss twins. Gets really crazy. But they're using, I don't know. I'm saying that and I don't know for sure if that's who they're using. They might be using something else or doing something on their own, but they're using the technology to auction off. So it's going to run for like a month, and whatever the highest bidder is at the end of this, that's what it's going to sell for. And given his previous experience recently, it could be in the tens of millions of dollars that this piece sells for. And then guess what? As I said before, someone buys it. Let's say someone buys it for $1 million, and then they turn around 2 days later and sell it for $2 million. He just keeps raking in the.
Yeah.
He just keeps making money off of it. So it's almost like if you're a musician getting like mechanical royalties where you get paid on work you did. Well, now this is a way for digital artists to get a piece of the secondary market. So
what is money? Money does not.
Thank you for
money
asking.
does not exist.
That is the best question for this conversation. What is money? The money right now is us all agreeing that $1 is worth $1, and that if with $1 I could maybe buy a can of soda or a pack of gum or whatever that dollar represents.
And that's what a Nifty's is. It's enough people have gotten together and said, this very unique JPEG or GIF of LeBron doing something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is worth $5,000.
Right. And it's everyone agreeing that. And then so here's where it gets cool or weird. So you have some of these exchanges that exist that are, you and I can just upload something to it and maybe sell something for whatever the price we feel like selling it. And then you have these other ones like Nifty Gateway, where they go out, they have about 100 artists right now that they represent, that they sell for. So they go out and find the artists, and then they work it all out, and they do all of the stuff like on the back end to try to make it approachable for people who don't know anything about cryptocurrency, right? But what is that worth to people is exactly what it is. And what you're finding is you're going to have these, for lack of a better term, I think in the financial world, they'll call them whales, people with just tons of money. And they're trying to find a way to store that money, to store that value, so that you're getting this influx of money into this new technology, this new thing, because of the digital scarcity of it. And because they believe like, hey, if I spend $10,000 on this digital piece of artwork, it will go up over time.
Yeah.
And so it's a great way to store my money instead of leaving it in the bank, which makes like less than 1% of interest. Or if I put it in a mutual fund that maybe makes 4%, or if I put it in a stock that you don't really have an influence as to what it's going to do. Yeah, it's a gamble. With this, it's still a gamble, but you're kind of like believing, like, because of the scarcity, because it can never be replicated, because that token is unique and it can never be replicated, that it will hold its value and continue to increase in value.
So here's the thing.
There's a lot of money in this right now.
The whole one thing I thought we said never can be replicated. I guarantee you there are some people that are trying to figure out, because
you can't. It's the whole world has access to this ledger, to the blockchain. So you would know right away if somebody did something screwed up. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody were to somehow figure a way to make it fungible.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
The whole thing would crash.
See, that's what I'm wondering, because it's like, because, like I imagine people have like looked into it, because it's, it's the same thing as physical art. People make forgeries of that. People make forgeries of money. They go out of their way to like do it as well as possible. So,
right.
Which I know someone who like some techno dude could probably explain to me, like, I mean, you could probably explain to me very well, like why it can be done. But
did you watch the movie Tenet?
I have not watched it yet.
So I won't go down that road, because
is it good?
I think it's fantastic. I'm a Christopher Nolan fan. I like when he gets the heady stuff that makes you think and makes you want to watch it over and over again, just to kind of fully take in what the story is. But there's this idea this thing that exists, and it's an important part of the movie. And, because with this movie, location is a huge part of the storytelling. It called a free port. Do you know what a free port is?
No.
This is going to blow your mind. So this is something that's existed forever. Like the biggest one, I believe, is in Geneva. They have it's at a port at a country or a city or whatever. Let's say you're bringing in. Let's say you purchased the Mona Lisa. We'll just go back to that.
Okay.
Instead of bringing it into the country and paying the VAT on it, the import tax, you store it at the port, kind of like when you go to the airport and you have the duty-free stuff. It's kind of like that, but it's almost like this bank vault of not priceless, but art and things of great value, cars, things like that. People will leave there instead of bringing it into the country and paying tax on it. They leave it there and store it there so they never have to pay tax on it. It's like this tax loophole thing.
That's so weird but they're just leaving it in this storage facility.
Yeah. I think there was a TV show called Billions where one of the storylines was this guy brought and it was based on a real thing that happened, I guess. This guy had like these paintings and he was storing them in the Freeport. But what he did was he had somebody make a perfect replication of it, like a forgery of it. And he put the forgeries in the Freeport and he kept the originals hanging in his house. So he could get away with not paying tax. So like whatever the price of storing it in the Freeport is a lot less than whatever the tax would be.
Yeah.
So we're talking about whales. We're talking about people with a ton of money that are storing their money in physical art.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of like a digital Freeport for a lot of these people, a way for them to store money and not really pay the tax on it until they cash out, Yeah. So it's there's a lot of money in it because of that, but there's also a lot of freedom in it for this whole generation that never existed before the last maybe 20, 30 years of digital artists, that's their medium, to a way to make stuff of value, like original art pieces that retain value, that you can exchange and that you can sell and put out there without just giving it away. And you could still give it away too, but you have a version of it that is original, for lack of a better term.
I'm about to look into this when I get
I'm
home,
telling you, it's such a rabbit hole to go down into, and it's exploding right now. Like you're going to see stories pop up.
There's a bubble. Kind of like,
I don't know if it's a bubble. I think because of the influence of major properties, major artists are getting involved now. Like like Greg Mike, who's somebody I'm a fan of. He's Atlanta-based street painter, street artist, plus does other traditional like art forms and whatnot. He does like the loudmouth things, the blue squares with the teeth. You've probably seen his artwork around, don't even know it.
Probably.
But yeah, he just recently got into it, and same thing, like he released some stuff, and I watched the time release. Like with him, he did it on Nifty Gateway. He released 2 pieces, and I think they were going for $2,000 a piece as a limited run. So you had 5 minutes to buy one of these pieces for $2,000, and however many people bought for $2,000 each in that 5 minutes is how many they minted. So you had like picture like a limited print release.
Yeah.
Right. Like an Andy Warhol print where he just made the prints. There's only 100 of them that exist ever. So it's kind of like that, but each one is unique because maybe he hand embellished each one.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like the NFT, the token, made each one individual. Within minutes after it closed, people were bidding on over $10,000 per piece within minutes. So right away, the turnaround is there.
Making money on it.
The secondary market all of a sudden kicked in the minute the window closed. People were already pushing the value up. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, it almost sounds like dangerous in a way. Like
I think because it's early right now, you're going to see these stories of like these immense, stores of value.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Like artificial inflation to it, like intentionally doing this to drive up the price of stuff.
Yeah, kind of like a pump and dump type of thing.
Yeah.
But it's so much in its infancy now that I think we're just scratching the surface of what it will mean, because you're going to have musicians releasing like imagine like an electronic musician releasing a song or and people have already done this, release albums as that are become like a piece of music becomes an original piece of music that you can own, which is something you really couldn't have done before. You get like rare vinyl and
some
things like that, but you didn't get the actual song where that is the original song, you know?
I just had like some worker on like OnlyFans releasing like an image set that's just like an NFT or something like that.
No. That exists. There's like kind of, I wouldn't say porn, like I haven't seen like porn, but like naked
lewds.
But like, like here's a pretty girl naked, and that's uploaded as an NFT. The sky's the limit.
Yeah.
So you could get just anything that can be digitized. You can imagine could be associated as a non-fungible property. So the sky's the limit as far as that's concerned, as a way to store value, as a way. The problem now, and this is where you got to put the period at the end of the sentence, is the technology right now is extremely carbon unfriendly. The cost, because as you explained before with Bitcoin, like you mine it, right? It's code. There's a certain fixed amount that can be subdivided as many times as you want with anything on the, like with Bitcoin. But the cost of the computing power it takes to decrypt that code or solve the complex mathematical problems that result in a token or a Bitcoin, whatever you want to call it, the thing that makes it scarce takes up a lot of energy. So by mining a token, like if you go to upload something to Rarible right now, depending on the traffic and the amount of cost that it costs, they call it gas on the network, you might have to pay 10, 12, 15, sometimes way more just to make the token. You pay that up front when you create it. And then when it sells, you're hoping that it's going to sell for more than what that gas is. But they also pay a gas fee as well when they buy it. Like they pay kind of almost like a... like a mileage cost,
like almost like bandwidth they're paying for, maybe.
Yeah, they're paying for the actual, the cost of
the processing needed to make it.
So right now,
oh my god,
and that's because they put it on Ethereum, because the Ethereum has supports, and there's other blockchain technology. I don't want to get too much into this that support support the ability to create NFTs, right? They have to, and it's in the works. I think the last thing I read says it might be 18 months or so before the code is optimized, where like it'll be like almost 100% more efficient than it is now. So it will take a lot less energy to create an NFT, so to speak. So yeah, there is a carbon cost associated with this right now in the way it exists, and because it's blowing up, those costs are going up. So there is that to think about. There's a morality attached to this. Like, is this worth, the equivalent of a year's worth of electricity in your house to create this one scarce piece of artwork?
To make this rare Pepe, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. So that to me seems to be like the current, like, obstacle in the way of mass adoption, because it would become extremely expensive if everybody started getting in on it.
Yeah.
Which we're seeing. Like a lot of people, as me talking about this right now, is maybe introducing someone like you that's never heard of this, and now you're going to look into it, and maybe you'll buy something, or maybe you'll sell something, and just to see what it is, just to experience it, and to kind of get an idea for it. But I like the idea of like that somebody has figured out a way to make it
true intrinsic value behind digital artwork.
Yeah, because and they use it in video game properties are now, like, let's say you're playing an open world video game, you can buy an element that is unique and scarce and use it in the video game.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's a hat I got as a Nifty, and I'm the only person who has this hat, or something like that. So, which to me is always kind of weird. I used to, when watching my son play video, I'm not a gamer. Like, I can't play 3D games. I just get virtual motion sickness. So I've been kind of saved from that world. My son, on the other hand, plays them all day long. And like the idea of buying an outfit for a character in a game, to me, with actual money that people will pay. And I was like, what the hell's going on here? So there's a whole generation of kids that are willing to put value in this stuff.
Sounds like does your son play Fortnite? That sounds like what you're
No,
describing.
he believe it or not, he's not big into Fortnite.
That's good.
He plays just about everything else, but Fortnite is one. I don't know why. Him and his friends decided that they were not going to get into that.
It's for babies.
That's probably why. Yeah, him being 17-year-old is one to be associated.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just paying real life money for just a literally a changing some pixels on a character.
Yeah.
Yeah, like paying money for that, but yeah, it makes more sense if it's like I'm the only one that has this bundle of pixels in this specific way.
Right.
Man.
I think it's going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
And if you have the means, maybe just dabble in it. You know, don't throw any money that you can't afford to lose. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I might look at it because on like whenever that whole GameStop fiasco happened with the stock, like my girlfriend, like we looked at like, okay, like how much would the stocks cost now? And it was like way too far gone by that point for it to be lucrative. But I mean, heck.
I think I ran the math when that was going on. I was hanging out with a friend of mine and my wife, and I ran the numbers. I said, if you were lucky enough to get in right before this whole thing started at the low, which was like $5 a share or something like that, and you sold it at the high, which was under 500, but like $400, and you put like $10,000 in it, and you sold it at the peak moment, and it was like $2 million you would have made in less than a year.
I saw people like there are people that are like set for life due to that now.
Yeah,
people paid off their student loans, their medical bills,
and people are doing that with Bitcoin.
Yeah,
right now. If you were lucky enough to get into Bitcoin early on and wise enough to not get rid of it, it's like it's an unbelievable amount of value that it's gone. And you know, I was just talking to a friend of mine this morning. He's like, "Is it too late?" And I was like, "Dude, it's still too early." Like, even though a Bitcoin is worth, you know, $40,000-$50,000 right now, it could be worth $100,000 in 6 months. It could be worth $10 in 6 months. You don't know, but it's still relatively early. The adoption of it is still very early. But the fact that it's branching out into these other things like that technology, and people are learning how to use that technology to make a decentralized source of scarcity. Like you said, what is money? Yeah. It's just
that's the thing. That's eventually going to be the next step where we're not applying, okay, this digital thing is worth this many green pieces of paper.
Yeah.
There's eventually that going to be something like cutting that out. And
it'd be worth X amount of Ethereum.
Yeah. 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 Or whatever stuff. Wait, what's Ethereum from? Is that a reference to something?
I don't know.
I feel like that's like,
I could probably Google it and tell you, but I'm sure it has some sort of like what?
I guess like something like
is the Ethereum
or something. It's a global decentralized platform. Okay, so it's actually a thing.
Name. I thought you were asking what the name.
I thought you just were using like a fictional like
no,
a made up name for money.
Ethereum is, there's more than, like you said, Dogecoin before. There's more than one type of cryptocurrency, and the technology underneath them is slightly different. The protocols are different, and the reason why Ethereum is associated with this is because it supports a protocol that allows for digital properties to be associated with the tokens. Yeah. So that's why it's not associated with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin doesn't allow that. And thank goodness, because the price of doing business with Ethereum has gone up because of this so much, that cost, whereas you can send millions of dollars of Bitcoin for like pennies.
Yeah.
You know, which you can't do with Ethereum right now until they figure out how to tweak the code so it's not so expensive. And these are the things that make people's eyes glaze over, trying to explain all that stuff.
Yeah.
But what I'm coming from it, the reason why I'm so excited that you didn't know anything about this, is to talk to an artist, to say like, hey, besides all of these things that you know of the art world, guess what this door is opening up? You know, so it brings, picture your artwork and what you do. Imagine if you were to create like digital playing cards, and your idea of a tabletop game to around the world that you've created in your artwork, and you could actually make that happen without ever having to worry about a physical product.
Oh my God.
You don't have to wait for a company to believe in you, to give you the money to get started. You could do it yourself, and you can create these cards that exist, that are scarce, so someone can have like the this thing that exists in the world of Fern, that is a creature that there's only one of, and that has certain abilities, and you can assign the abilities to this card, and blah 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 blah. I can see your brain spinning right now as I'm saying these things. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for a lot of artists to really start taking it to whatever level their imagination allows them to.
Also, listeners at home, if you did not understand what Joe just said, listen to episode 70.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. But I think that there's a beauty in the when people start to get a grasp of what could be done.
Yeah,
it's going to change the way we consume all sorts of art and tell stories and connect with people, while creating a value for the artists where they're getting their fair share finally. Wow. I'm thinking of punk rock bands like releasing scarce versions of songs, and being able to like make a living and get royalties that have been robbed from them.
Oh yeah,
robbed from musicians for years. There's the sky's the limit if they can figure out the gas prices, basically. Yeah, that cost of doing business. If they can, once that gets into a realistic and less environmentally impactful.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Once they figure that out, I think, it'll be such a wonderful thing. And the fact that it kind of gained its popularity at this time in the world's history, it's almost like a reaction to this pandemic, where now we've figured out like this new way of bringing entertainment that doesn't involve people going to an art show. They can do it on their computer and get the same kind of, or a whole new kind of experience.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, I'm going to finish up with this. I mean, the Nifty thing is all over the VR world as well. So you have VR art spaces that people create, and there's Nifty real estate where you buy property in a virtual world that exists on the blockchain.
That's actually
crazy.
That's been a thing it's not been blockchain, but that's been a thing for a while too. Like Second Life. You ever heard
right.
Yeah.
Yes. It's kind of like that, but now it's completely, you can resell it.
Yeah. There's no way to copy it.
Right.
Oh my God.
So you can buy a plot of land on this digital planet, and then you can turn around and sell it in a couple of years. Be like, you know what? I want to move to a different place, and someone will buy your house. Mm-hmm. Like, you see where this is going?
Yeah,
it's
and
very Matrixy.
Yeah, I'm just like, like literally imagining 200 years in the future where somebody like they have their virtual land and they decide, you know what? I'm going to have my entire brain digitized and I'm going to upload it to my 200 virtual acre Nifty real estate.
Yeah, my Animal Crossing type of life.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the ideas start pouring when you start thinking about the capability and the possibility. So
thank you.
That's my Nifty show.
Thank you for teaching me and all the lovely listeners at home on the magic of. Thank you for teaching me and all the lovely listeners at home about the magic of Niftys.
Yeah, check it out. Look into it. I like it that it's this early in it too, that people can learn about it. They don't have to, even if they don't want to be involved in it, they can learn about it so that they're not taken aback and feel like they missed the boat.
Yeah, because I think there's this what's the word? There's something intimidating about Bitcoin at this point, but yeah, this is so new.
It's magical. It's magical internet money. Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't help Bitcoin's cause is the community around it. Like when you go to like Reddit, the subreddit on Bitcoin, you're like, oh, these people are psychotic. Yeah. And downright, there's some grossness attached to it. And I think that maybe exists also in the video game world as too. There's a lot of
what, Joe, what are you talking about?
Yeah. There's a lot of like maybe sex. There's a lot of isms.
What?
There's a lot of amplified, anonymous, people left to their worst devices type of mentalities.
No one's ever said a bad thing in the video game community ever, Joe. I can't believe you would. Slander, sir.
It makes, but like when you look at some of the cryptocurrency community, and same thing with the people who did the whole GameStop thing, like that whole Wall Street bets community. It's like a million little Donald Trump clones. And you're like, oh God, do I want to be really associated with these types of people that are like winning is everything? But it's not all like that. It just looks that way. Because when you look at it, you're like, they're all talking their weird language and they're all, it's all meme based and everyone is just,
the meme lingo. If
you can get past that and find the actual, like the benefit that might apply to your own sensibilities and not look at like what the surface might represent itself to be at this moment, because it's all early adopters and they're like true believers, and there's a lot of weirdness and it scares people off. But I think don't wait till it's too late. Look into it, see if it's something that makes sense to you, because I do think the future
sees your brass ring today.
Well, I think the future of content should and could be decentralized in this way. And really it takes a lot of power out of a single person or a single entity, and it really gives it to the creators. It
levels the playing field with Sotheby's.
So I'm curious that these people are associating themselves with these like a Nifty gateway, which kind of is almost like a hybrid. They're almost functioning in a traditional sense, as opposed to some of these other gateways that are completely anyone can participate and upload their stuff or tokenize their stuff. Very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So make sure you check out episode 70 with Vik Hart.
Yes.
Who can be found at vikhart.com, VIKHART.com. And Instagram.com/Vik.art, VIK.ART.
Yes.
There you go. And a lot of this conversation will make even more sense after you listen to that. Just make it through the first 40 minutes where we talk about like the current events in our lives.
If you wanted to share about the art, just kind of go to like about minute 40. You'll be good.
If you want to talk about art before that, we still talk about art
a little bit, but we also, if you want to hear about me talking about Uber, and working Uber, go to about minute 20.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Right. Thanks again.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Before you get going, don't forget to subscribe to the show if you haven't already. And also, you can check out more at jwnpod.com or follow me on Instagram at JoeLatex. That's at JOEL8X. Have a great day. Peace.